Grand rising, beautiful people. Welcome to Why I Left Religion with Coach Renz. It's a Monday morning. Gotta knock the Monday off. Today, if you find me for the first time, it's gonna take about 5 minutes before we get into the subject matter. So you might want to skip along to that one. So about 5 minutes in, and I'll give people a chance to get on. But we deconstruct religions, and today we're going to talk about, do Christians practice witchcraft? That's what we're going to talk about. Even though they say they don't, even though they claim everybody else do, we going to show the similarity between the Christian and the witchcraft and have a good conversation. I always hope that we get some folks to come in and try to defend that point of view, the opposite, but we don't. We do sometimes, but I don't know. They scared. So welcome. We're going to talk about a little witchcraft. A little witchcraft today. Spells and all that. So how y'all doing today? What? We coming on slow this morning. We coming in slow. Usually by now we already have a few folk. Notifications ain't hitting. Gotta get my cigar ready. Let me check, make sure everything is copacetic on this end. Everything is working fine. Yeah, we good right now. Let me check. 1, 2, checker. Microphone checker. Make sure everything is good to go. As we get started. All right, we good to go. We working. Everything's working well. Let's see. Oh, I hope everybody had a good weekend. Coming in. I had a pretty good weekend. Even though it rained, it was cold. Both my Falcons and my Hawks lost. It's all right. Still had a great weekend. Either way. All right, now. Another that group with you. Sometimes when you refill them, you gotta get that air out of them. I thought I got all the air out. All that clicking, right? It's like okay. We ain't gonna worry about that one right now. We're gonna grab the other one. Grand Rising Margarita, how you doing? Good to hear you. Glad to see you here on a beautiful Monday morning. We're going to get started here in a few minutes. But we got about a minute and a half. Start at the 5 o'clock time frame. 5 minutes in, not 5 o'clock. Oh. Get started. We're going to do some witchcraft today. It would be cool if does anybody practice witchcraft? Grand Rising Donald. It's Tuesday morning here. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're like in Australia somewhere? But where you at? What kind of bird is that on my porch? There's a whole bunch of birds in my front yard. What y'all eating? Margarita. Don't tell me where you're from yet. Give me a second. You said it's Tuesday morning. You immediately want to go to Australia. I know you're not in South Africa. Most European countries are only like 6 hours, 8 hours ahead. So you must be in Australia. Or New Zealand. New Zealand. She's in New Zealand. That is. Margarita's in New Zealand. Aha. I might be 52 years old, but I'm still, my memory's still good. It's still decent. Yep. Mm-hmm. New Zealand. Mm-hmm. Very peaceful place to live. I'm a bit jealous. All right. She said she's searching. So today's conversation is going to be about Christianity and their practices, and are they relatable to witchcraft? As they claim, most people are committed to witchcraft. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give the answer to the test in the very beginning. Of course, Christians practice witchcraft. It's just that they call anything that isn't given to their deity, that's done the exact same way, then it's called, then there's the other person is demonized. So Christians do practice witchcraft, but it's okay because it's to their God. And that is the answer to the question, the cheat. But we got to go through the process of how do we get there, right? Oh. We're going to do this from how a Christian would normally accuse a person of practicing witchcraft. Grand Rising Sheila, Grand Rising Christian. Oh, shit. Grand Rising other Sheila. We got Sheila M and Sheila B. So how do Christian, okay, so we got to start from how do you witchcraft, which is the whole deal, and how does Christianity matches up to the exact same thing when we already know that what the answer is. And the first thing that we have to look at is the fact that they'll say that in order to practice witchcraft, then you have most people who practice witchcraft are part of a coven, right? It's one of the things they would say. Well, in actuality, most people who practice any form of witchcraft are not part of covens, right? They don't group together. Most don't. Most do it privately. Most do it between them and maybe whomever lives in their house, but not going to a meeting in the woods. That's one reason you can never feel comfortable with the Bible. Mm-hmm. Grand Rising Renee, Grand Rising David, Grand Rising Kate. But when they say that a person has joined a coven or a coven, what is a coven? Well, see, a coven is a Latin word, covium, coviarium, actually. And it just means assemble. It means just to assemble. But a coven basically is a gathering of people with like mind and committed to like practices and like beliefs. Christianity has over 40,000 denominations, different covens of people who gather together with like mind, like common beliefs, and we're going to get to it, but rituals and spells and all these other sorts of things. So a Christian is still part of a coven. They just call it their church. They call it their denomination, but it's still a coven in the same way that witches' covens have different names as well. Now, remember, Christianity started as a cult anyway, but the only reason it's not considered a cult is because now it has 2.6 billion people in it, because the Roman Emperor Theodosius made it the religion of the Roman Empire, because Constantine in 313 or 318 legalized the religion in Rome. But prior to the legalization of this religion, it was considered a cult. You can't stay, Crystal. Well, you have to come back and watch the rewind. But it was considered a cult. In the same way that they consider those who practice witchcraft occultists or being a part of a cult, Christianity has been the same and is still the same. Just because there's more people in the group doesn't mean you're not a cult anymore. You're still a cult. All right? What do you teach, Crystal? Just want to know, just curiosity. But just because there's a bunch of y'all doesn't make it not a cult anymore. It's still a cult. And even within the cult, there are different cults within the cults. Reminds me of the Craft movie. Is that you talking about Warcraft? I've never seen those. Oh, there was a movie back in the day called The Craft, I think. Anyway, I don't know. I didn't see it, so I can't speak on it. But so they are still part of this group. They're still part of the same thing. They still join together and come together. So just like any other witches coven, they are a coven of witches and warlocks in the same. And today I'm going to show you and prove exactly how they are still the same. They just don't agree because they believe in their God. But someone outside of their religion will say that they are a cult, which most of us are, and we are saying they're witches. What are the origins of what the Catholic considered witchcraft? What are the origins of it? It's kind of a hard one. It's hard to pinpoint an origin for the Catholics starting to call things witchcraft, because as soon as they became part of the Roman government and Theodosius made Christianity the only religion in Rome, everything became witchcraft. Well, I guess that's the answer. Yeah. Everything became witchcraft that wasn't included in Christianity from the moment from 381 CE, when it became the religion of Rome. And the papacy and everything was truly established with power, but with the government's backing. So if they allowed it in, and some things have been witchcraft and some things have not, and then they go back. So this was witchcraft at first, but then in the Dark Ages, or the Middle Ages, it was not witchcraft, and then it went back to witchcraft. So they go back and forth. Now, what is one of the most common things in witchcraft that they talk about is casting spells. Casting spells. That is the thing that if they see you drawing a circle, you sitting up there saying words, Klaatu, Varata, Nektu, Army of Darkness reference. If you're saying those kind of words to invoke some type of manifestation or change in the natural order of things or how things are going, you're casting a spell by using vibration of your words and looking to manifest through your faith in some deity. You're casting a spell, right? And no, not just spelling. I know what you mean by that one. Because some people take it all the way to the degree of just by writing, you're casting a spell. Just by speaking, you're casting a spell. No. Actually, in true witchcraft, in most what they call witchcraft, in true magic, let me stop calling it witch. In true magic, if there is no intent and reverence to some type of energy, then it's not actually casting a spell. If I just say, hey, how you doing? I'm not casting a spell. But if I'm trying to change or manifest something through belief in a deity or belief in myself, or which is really just belief in the energy of myself or the consciousness of myself or some other beings, then that's casting a spell, right? Trying to get you to do something that's mind control. That would be, and having and pledging to some deity for it to happen, is casting a spell. So when Christians pray for healing from their God, they're putting their faith in a deity to change a situation, to manifest something. When they're praying for a house, when they're praying for a car, trying to find their keys, Because you know they don't pray to help people. Fuck them kids over there being bombed and stuff. We're not worried about them. I need to find my keys. I need this traffic to open up for me. When they're praying for those things and looking for their deity, they are casting spells. In no difference than a Muslim praying to Allah, casting a spell. A witch praying to, I don't know who witches pray to. Who would a witch pray to? I should have looked that part up. What are like the most common witch covens? But whatever deity in Ifa, when you're praying to Obatala, to Oshun, Mama Wata, Eshu, Shango, my Norse guy, I don't know if he's on here yet, Grand Rising Being, Grand Rising Nikki. When you're praying to all of those, Thor, Baphomet, all of that, you're casting a spell. Anytime you're going outside yourself looking to manifest something, I did say inside yourself, but let me take the inside stuff out. When you are looking outside yourself to some deity to manifest and change something, you are casting a spell. So when Christians come and pray over each other, they are casting spells. Yeah. Grand Rising Warrior O. But it's all casting spells. Simple as that. We're going to get to the blood magic and ritual sacrifice. That's later on in rituals. But so they join together in covens. They cast spells. Now, one of the other things that's primary in witchcraft is having oracles, having warlocks, and having those, but mainly having oracles, having those who are standing on high at a higher level, great, and they are there to guide you. They are there to teach you the deeper lessons. The more you grow, the deeper you get into it. They're there to teach you how this process works, so that you become more and more powerful and gain more and more insight and wisdom. Do they have oracles in Christianity? We're going to make this a little bit more interactive. What are oracles? What would be the equivalency of oracles in Christianity? Because there are many. There are many. Well, y'all gonna talk to me today. How do you feel about shamanism? I like shamanism better than I like Christianity. I can tell you that. Yes, they have the Pope. You got preachers, exactly. You got pastors, priests, rabbis, bishops. You got angels. And all the different levels of angels. They got all these different levels of instructor, of oracles, of those who are supposed to give them divine information, teach them more wisdom, give them more insight, guide them. Right? They have all these same things that they claim is witchcraft in other religions. They don't look inward, they look outward for other people to guide them in that religion instead of them looking inward to see how they should process this information. They have this person, Benny Hinn, got the magic jacket because he's imbued with more power, so they look up to him. You got Sister So-and-so, Sister Sledge in the church. I know Sister Sledge, she in the church. And she got the gift of healing. You go to Sister Sledge. You got Sister Tambourine over there. She got the power of music on her. Power. Bring joy to you through the music. You got Sister Tambourine over there. Then you got a whole host of prayer warriors. These people who are strong in prayer. Literally went to a church one time and saw the information. And on the information, it said that they were having classes to teach you how to be a prayer warrior. Only $75. I was like, that's some bullshit right there. Of course, you're going to have a bunch of people want, what? Be a prayer warrior? And when you're a prayer warrior, then on certain days, you come to the church, and whoever come in, you're going to pray for them because you're a prayer warrior now. And you done been through the training. You've been trained as a prayer warrior. So, and who was teaching it? Pastor's wife, first lady, because she's a mighty prayer warrior that the other people need to go to get prayer and understand prayer. I remember Creflo Dollar had a class teaching people how to speak in tongues. Want to learn how to speak in tongues? Go to Creflo Dollar. I don't know if they still do it. I know I passed by him on TikTok this morning, so now Creflo Dollar's on TikTok doing sermons. Get that extra money. So they both have covens. They both do spells. Christians have covens. Christians do spells. Christians have oracles. Sounds like we are pretty good. They practice witchcraft. But let's continue. One of the other things that they talk about as far as Christianity as far as witchcraft, is the burning of incense and candles. Now, we can easily, and Christians will separate themselves from Catholics really quick. It's easy to show how in the Catholic Church and the Lutherans, and it's somebody else, I can't think of who else, who has the big ass thing that swings back and forth with the incense, right? And then later was charging over $1,000 to teach people how to pray. $1,000. I gotta get up on that scam, Renee. No, I'm just kidding. Yep. And it's interesting. I meet so many Christians who now do so many of these things, right? In this parts that we're about to get into, these next three. But the burning of incense. So many Christians, they burn in sage, right? Now you do have some pastors who are starting to preach against that, but they're starting to burn sage, and they burning candles, and they meditating, and they doing all these things. But I don't want to focus too much on the individual, but really focus on the church processes, what the church does, what they authorize, what's okay. All right. Sacrificing your mind, body, spirit. You have to give up your freedom, disconnect body and mind. You got to do all those things. Grand Rising Debbie, Grand Rising Brian. Anywhere spoken with influence and intent can be considered spelling. The religious sect is the world, past and present, have mastered the practice. And while most say it's evil, it's a natural process used by all, just not with the manner of communicable pretext or causes on causing or intending harm. No, it all makes sense. Aren't they interesting? But that's what I'm saying. We're being more specific. I understand what you're saying, but I'm just being specific as far as how they accuse other people of committing witchcraft when they have it within their own system. And casting spells in this instance is when you're reaching outside for some deity to change and manifest something. Because I could go into the Kabbalion of most of this, but I'm trying to stay in this line, and then I'll probably jump into some more other stuff as we go. But the burning of incense, if you guys are noticing, when we would have been reading on Tuesday, when we read the Bible, we're doing our What's Wrong with the Bible, and we have been reading, as you have seen with Leviticus and with, it started in Exodus, then in Leviticus, and it's still in Numbers, and you see how in those books, burning incense has been one of those things that they were doing in the holiest of holies, is that they were burning frankincense. Frankincense was important when Queen Sheba supposedly came to Solomon, and she brought frankincense. Jesus was supposedly given frankincense and myrrh at his birth, and then anointed with frankincense and myrrh at his death. Well, not frankincense, but anointed with myrrh, which is for healing, which is a whole nother conversation, at his death. So they burning stuff. They doing the same thing that they claim the witchcraft people do. Grand Rising Raphael. I don't know if this is your first time here. If it is, thank you for being here. I just never seen your name before. Always be a political thing that uses psyops to this advantage, which is the basis of ceremonial activities. Mm-hmm. Those ceremonial activities certainly are there to psychologically enslave the people. Grand Rising One Immaculate. So we noted, and when they burning candles to at the churches, and they got the saints and all these sort of things, and people like to point, well, that's just Catholic, that's just Catholic. But it's not just Catholic. When I was growing up in a Baptist church, almost every Baptist church I ever went to, when you was doing the communion, they lit candles. When they have their church weddings, their funerals, they're lighting candles. You're burning candles or burning something in all these different ceremonial events. We're going to talk more about that when we get to rituals, because rituals is the last one. But you're burning candles for all these other situations of Christianity. So you're burning candles, you're burning incense. Your book is talking about burning incense. So they're practicing the very thing that they are against, that they claim that they are against. Oh, some people come here, I don't like them. I sage the shit out of this house. I used to sage my cigar lounge after a day when people got on my nerves. Because there are certain everything in the universe has energy. So discovering what those energies are for, and once you discover what they're for, you set your intentions. Yeah, I'm gonna use that energy. You should use that energy. That's why I meditate. Because many don't want to feel wrong through their own projections and their beliefs and experience. No, of course they don't want to feel wrong. They want to be able to do what they want to do, but claim the other person who's doing the exact same thing is wrong. They can't define witchcraft, because if they define it and look inward, then they will see that they're committed to the same thing. Which brings me to number 5, which is a big one that many Christians don't realize they are doing it like a champ. And that is divination. Divination, 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 like a champ. What is divination? Well, it's basically your ability to obtain wisdom, to see the future, and they do this all the time, or using instruments to see the future. In their Jesus story, lots were cast in order to take his cloak, and this was a thing that was prophesied. All prophecy is divination. So even the prophecy of Jesus is divination. They're reading the tea leaves left and right. They're using, and Abraham cast lots. He used bones. They did all these things in order to see which directional path they should go, what the future holds for them, what things are going to occur, going to happen when the deity tells them that you're going to defeat this enemy. He's prophesizing to them. He's telling them the future. When they have their leadership, Elijah prophesizing, bringing down fire. They're using magic. If God created all wild, the herbs, crystals, and elements, water, earth, fire, but the church deems them as evil. They only deem them as evil if they're used for not believing in their God. But you're exactly right. If it was all created, then they are just the tools, and tools can be used one way or another. It's just perspective. Well, it's perception. Whatever the individual person's perception is. Brian, you're writing whole big ass stories, Brian. Most people don't speak. I just playing. Most folks don't speak lawyer yet. Always accept their language in court. Innocent folks lose their entire lives, and that's why. If I understand what you're saying, just in a short read, then yes. Most people don't understand the language that's being used around them, and they just get duped into all kind of stuff, or don't even know what they're doing. Every empire has a religion just a form of control. It sure is. Intention of using deity to find our favor is in rituals and spells. I see that you are here for it today, Brian. Yeah, if you're not hip to legalese, you're gonna be lost. I enjoy sitting in a courtroom and watching people think that they know some legalese and then wind up messing themselves up. It is funny as hell to me. It's like, especially, I'm sorry, when I see those people coming there talking and they trying to do the Moorish right thing, and then the judge be handing them their ass. It's funny to me. I think it's funny as hell. You know, watch a couple of YouTube videos and think you know something. Anyway, back to the subject. So what's the difference between going to see a person who reads tarot cards and that person reads the tarot cards and they tell you what your future is going to be, and the book of Revelations, or casting bones or lots to see what your future is, or to see a star in the east and that star is a representation of some special person being born? What's the difference? The dude don't want to go where God told him to go. So he put him in the belly of a fish. So he controlled the mind of a fish. Stay in the fish for 3 days. Get spit up like a fish. Wait a minute. First, let's go back even further in that story. First, he on a boat. He uses a storm, and then they cast lot to see whose God is causing the problem. So then they pray, and then old boy admit that it's his God. So they throw his ass off the boat. Even though they was like, nah, your God gonna kill us if we throw you off the boat since he caused this storm and all this stuff. But they throw his ass off the boat, the storm stops. Then when he goes into the town and tell the people, hey, God gonna kill y'all for acting up. A plague comes through, they repent, he goes sit, the tree all of a sudden grows, and the tree died. All this magic that's going on. All this magic that this dude is doing in this one little story of Jonah. Trees coming up as similes and metaphors and all this kind of stuff. A whole lot of magic going on in these stories. Yeah, I want to have one of those. Yeah. All these little things that he had going on, and then when we get to Revelations, oh my God, Revelation. Your pops tried to read the book of Revelations again yesterday. I let him down gently. Good. Be gentle with the pen, with Pop. But Revelations is nothing but divination of what is to come that hasn't come yet and supposed to have been coming for the last 2,000 years, but they thought was coming in 40 years. But it is what's going to happen to the Euphrates, what's going to happen to all the waters, the asteroid that's going to come and fall down, the world leaders that's going to come in, the mark of the beast, the little horn ripping out the 3 horns. So the 3 kingdoms that are going to be ripped out by the 1 kingdom that's going to be loud and boastful and change the word of God. And, what else we got in that one? You got all these different plagues that's going to kill a third of the population. You got 4 angels coming down at the river, Euphrates. It's a whole bunch of prophecies. A whole bunch of prophecies. It's war that's going to be happening. It's famine that's going to be happening. It's a whole bunch of divinations of what's coming, of what's going to be. So in the same way, it is witchcraft, right? And this is my last one. Then we can just talk. We're going to talk about it in general in a different way. Like gnashing of teeth, rituals. One of the biggest things that they try to talk about as far as somebody participating in witchcraft are the different rituals that a person may participate in. So like in what they call witchcraft, drawing a circle, putting some sigils in the circle or certain sacred geometry with some candles, and then you can only draw your circles with certain things, either chalk or salt, and on certain surfaces, certain times of the year that you do these things, when the moon is full or when the moon is waning, when it's growing, when it's waning, what do you do during those time frames? Certain rituals of dress, how do you dress and how do you proceed in and out, and all these different things that they would say in witchcraft, and the certain words that you would use, and combination of everything, the spells, the oracles that you lean to, the incense and the sages and the stones and crystals and lots and all these things culminate in the ritual. They all come together in the ritual. But as we have been reading, especially in this Exodus story, cut your hair on a full moon. What the hell is that supposed to do? I've never heard of that one. What is that supposed to do, Renee? But that would be a new one for me. Excuse me. But out of the Bible, as we've been going through Exodus, this whole Exodus story that has bled into Leviticus and Numbers, did they not tell the people how and who are supposed to come into the holiest of holies, how it's supposed to be built, that it's supposed to have an altar, but yet if you have an altar in your home, that's an ancestry altar, you're practicing witchcraft. But they have an altar in every church. But in the holiest of holies, in the tent of meetings, they had an altar. They got a special dress code, right? So they're doing the same thing as far as the dress code. Brian, stop writing all that long ass shit. No, I'm just playing. Christian women wins lawsuit. Okay, I can't click on that right now, but I can click on it later, Nikki. Right aid equal to assist in a ritual. This logos, it is a witchcraft symbol. I know I just did that one where that pastor said that Starbucks was a witchcraft symbol. Actually, a lot of your corporate symbols are sigils. Oh, it's supposed to make your hair healthy? I've never heard of that one. But, I mean, I'm a dude. That sounds like one of them superstitions. Cinnamon on the first of each month for abundance. You're one of this mind because Jesus keep fighting over some of your magic. Yeah, Revelation is a book that they're gonna always throw because it's vague enough that they can use it over and over again. Right, Starbucks is the sirens. Christian student wins lawsuit after public school tried to force her to worship idol. Oh, cool. Because I don't think you should be forced to worship anything if you don't want to, even if it's a Christian who won the lawsuit. I'm not biased like that, but Yeah, you shouldn't have to worship anything. I'm gonna have to read the story though. I'm gonna have to break that down a little bit. Ain't no might have to read. I'm gonna read it. But right off the whip, there are a bunch of rituals. Abraham trying to killing his son and then have to kill a ram for this guy. All the blood sacrifices. I think somebody said it earlier with all the blood sacrifice rituals. The Jesus blood sacrifice. And then their communion of eating his flesh and drinking his blood, which makes them a blood cult. They were already a blood cult with all the animal sacrifices that they already had in this book, Grand Rising and Lumi. So with all the other blood sacrifices, they were already a blood cult. Now they are continuously a blood cult by consuming this blood of Jesus. And the cannibalism of eating his body. But even the smallest things can be considered rituals. Your anniversary, your birthday, your weddings, your funerals. They still have their rituals that are within their process. Their entire church service is a ritual. Some of the rituals I was like back in the day when the choir used to march down in and the choir be marching in. I used to like that though. But all these repetitive processes in order to invoke some emotional energy or some deity are all rituals. Grand Rising energy. Witchcraft is a tool, just like a hammer. Whatever it's used for determines whether it's good or bad. There is no witchcraft is good, witchcraft is bad. White magic, black magic, green magic, blue magic. Right. Told him to kill his son and sent another animal to be killed. Funny how when Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden, the first thing he did was kill an animal and cover them up. They are very much obsessed with blood. Oh, the rosary with the intention of witchcraft, we just know. Right. You gotta have your little rosary beads and you got your little prayers that they do over that one. Maybe they're vampires. Grand Rising Edward. Right. Blowing out the birthday candles and making a wish. That would be a spell that you're sending out a spell that some deity is going to deliver or manifest something to you. What are your thoughts on casting out demons in Jesus' name? Witchcraft. It falls into the line of witchcraft. Now, do I think that they're actually doing this? No, I don't. I don't think that they have the power to do one blessed thing. Right? True people who got true power, I think are very, 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 very few, like 1 in a billion. And since there's only 8 billion people on this planet, 8 people on the planet might have some level of real power. I'm talking about real power. Right? A bunch of people can have minor power. But I'm talking about some real power. You functioning on a level like that. You ain't rebuking nothing in Jesus' name, calling out no demons in Jesus' name. You can't do it in Jesus' name anyway. Because even though Jesus is supposed to be Yeshua or Yahshua, it's actually Joshua, not Jesus. The correct English translation would be Joshua. But yes, and that's my point, energy. We all participate in some level of witchcraft, or what they would call witchcraft. I just call it alchemy and hermetics. At the true level, at the end of the day, it is alchemical hermetics is all that you're doing. If you understand what you're doing. Most people are just doing some bullshit and ain't doing nothing at all, but tricking their own minds. Have you heard of RC Christians? Not any. I don't think anytime we speak, because oftentimes we speak with no intentions and no deity in place. You calling this fire magic? Mm-hmm. When you go to the oracle, you're going to be source closest to God. Source, sorcerer. You going. You go to the past, you probably going farther away from God, from any kind of idea of God. Magic. You know they use that in the Marvel movies. Magic is just technology that we don't understand. Uh, Technology and energy that we don't understand. Certainly in ancient times, if the theory that there was a previous more intelligent civilization on Earth that survived the Younger Dryas that taught mankind restart a civilization, then technology would certainly be it. But even in those technology, it is the use of energy that is some type of use of energy, and I should say natural energy. So yes, I would agree with you. It's technology that we don't understand. It's the energy that we don't understand. Religion does make you lazy and slow, keeps you questioning your higher self. Said a mouthful right there about your intentions when you speak. Yeah, you have to have intention behind it, and that intention has energy behind it. Have the support of most of the time it's emotional energy. Sometimes it's emotional and logical energy, or just logical energy. But relative to what you're speaking on, the type of energy that you invoke from your own self has greater influences. His name was on the Georgia Guidestone, the Rose religion, I think. Whose name was on the Georgia Guidestone? I think I missed what you were saying as far as that one. But that is when the magic happens, when you pull the right kind of energy. Witches were killed for doing good deeds. You are covered with the blood of witchcraft. This is true. In some of the witch hunt issues that they had in Salem and England and Spain was people who figured out how to use plants to heal somebody. And because other people didn't know that that was what they were doing, they called them witches. I wish I would have went to the Guidestone before they tore them down. I just seen videos on them. Yeah, but we all do, Marcus. You're right. Some kind of spell crafting, we all do it in some form or fashion, even when we don't even realize it. When you're sitting there in distress and you're like, oh, I just wish that somebody would come to the house and bring me some cheese. You got all that emotion in it, you casting a spell. Yeah. And you should be invoking oneself. Okay, now y'all typing faster than I can read. I don't know who drew up the plans for the Georgia Guidestones. I spoken word, the spoken word is magic in it. In the beginning was the word, and you know the rest. Yeah, that word didn't create shit. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, but and when you think about superstitions, Christians have just as many superstitions as a regular person, as any other person who's not Christian. course, I got to go to one of my favorite little movies there, Harlem Nights. When she bury your drawers in the yard, you can't leave. Everything, Illumi just said it perfect. Everything is energy. Energy is magic. Magic is energy manipulation. So people are believing in, when you believe in a superstition or believe that somebody can curse you or something like that, they're manipulating your energy. Like if I got on here and I put a curse, I'm saying I'd go through some little rituals, you know. I curse you through the smoke of coffee, smoking coffee. And if you believe it, if you allow yourself to be susceptible to it, I have shifted your energy and you will be the one to create your own curse. You'll be the one to create your own curse. You will. Because you'll walk around believing that somebody's put a curse on you, and then every damn thing that you do will fail, not because of the actual curse, but because you accept and believe that you were cursed. I know that one for a fact of my own self because I was brought up with quite a few superstitions. And one of those superstitions was if you break a mirror, you're going to have 7 years of bad luck. So I never broke a mirror until I was in the 11th grade. And I believed that I was going to have 7 years of bad luck. And then I was about 3 years in and I broke another mirror. And I was like, shit, another 7 years of bad luck. And shit was going south a lot during that time frame. And then I came out of Christianity. As I started coming more and more out of Christianity, I started realizing that, and I started learning about alchemy and hermetics in like the early 90s. I started realizing, hold on, I'm creating my own fucking luck. I'm doing this to myself. So I had to stop. I had to regain myself. I had to look at all these superstitions for what they really were. And, you know, I grew up with my grandmother was I guess you can call her a Christian witch because she used to make up formulas for us to take so we wouldn't get sick. And she used to do certain things to break bad luck and spells and stuff. Because, like, you know, she swept my grandfather's foot with the broom one time. He took the broom, broke it over with spit in the broom, broke it over his knee, and threw the broom away. I remember seeing that. So that's what I'm saying. I grew up with some superstitions. To this day, my mother still will not split a pole. Right? But all these things, and of course, a lot of these things are my grandparents are well, let me rephrase. As cultures mix, especially with the African culture and the indigenous culture in America, they mix these things into Christianity. So they held on to some of those. And I started to realize that all these things are just energy based. There's nothing, and you can utilize them however you choose to utilize them. That nothing has any energy over you except for you. So the Bible witchcraft was prominent in the South. Yeah, that's a good way of calling it, Bible witchcraft, because it was witchcraft that was based on the Bible and other like African and indigenous beliefs that they couldn't fully get rid of. Somebody said something earlier, and I meant to say something about it. Every night I'm doing some type of work. Yep, I did. I do too. That's why I didn't sleep that well last night, because my magic wasn't working. So holy words have power. Rituals reinforce. Yeah. But now, don't get me wrong. I do love magic. I don't remember what it was. I actually love magic, use magic, but I recognize that all I'm doing is just reaffirming my own energy and the energy of the earth and the universe around me. Like I said, trauma, it's 1 in a billion who has true power and true understanding to that kind of level. I don't even know if anybody got that kind of level of teleport, but that true, deepest understanding of the universal energy. Mm-mm. I might be able to go out in the backyard and make the wind blow. That's about the extent. I still ain't levitated shit yet. Take the pill. Voodoo, Yoruba all have the same saints as Christianity, just different names. Yeah, they basically Hellenized the same, kind of like how the Greeks used to. Oh, so you got this guy and I got that guy. Let's just whoop and make them the same. It's like they already had gods that represented everything, or deities, aspects, metanetrics that represented that same thing. So it just merged them up. What Santa Muerta is probably one of the easiest to identify those things in, of how that was done. CBD gummies are magic. Them shrooms, girl. Them shrooms is magic. Oh, we just need a book that mine. Okay. So we're like avatars. I haven't seen Avatar. I watched the cartoon a little bit with my kids, but yes. Let's smoke that blunt. Santa Muerta. Yes. I always say that wrong, so thank you for the putting it out there. But we all have the ability to utilize everything that they say is witchcraft in order to better your life. I mean, there was a young lady, I used to follow her. Well, I still follow her on YouTube. I'm trying to think of her name. Black lady in Texas. All her whole YouTube is about witchcraft, casting spells, and like she'll tell you right off the bat, the reason why her husband got that good job is because of her witchcraft, the witchcraft that she performed. Uh, and she, now I don't know how real some of her stuff is, but it's real to the point that she believes it, that people believe it, and that's the real crux of it, is belief. The strength of your belief in anything will make it real, or can make it real. Yeah, the avatar, your body is just a vessel for. I agree with you on that one, John. Just a vessel for your soul. That's why I call this a poverty suit or meat suit, because the body is the poverty. So but the body holds us back. The body holds us back from understanding our true power and connection with universal energies. If we can, the more and more you can see outside the body, deal outside the body, then the stronger you become in manipulating universal forces. Uh, oh, her name is Ashera. Ashera goddess. I like her. Uh, if you want to see somebody who I think is really very knowledgeable about witchcraft, she's a little sassy, but Ashera goddess. I haven't seen her in years, so I don't know what she does. Know what she's doing now. But yes, you are what you believe. Master your mind, you can conquer anything. And when I was a personal trainer, that's what I used to That's somewhat what I used to tell my clients. If you can control your body, then you can control your life. And I would teach them how to control their body by controlling their mind. That if I can't get your mind right, then your body's not going to get right. And if your body ain't going to get right, then your environment, your life is not going to get right. So that's what I used in my personal training life coaching. Stigmata. The stigmata, isn't that like accept having the torment of Jesus happening to a person? It was a good movie. That was a really good movie. Stigmata. That was a good movie mainly because it had the Gospel of Thomas all. Ooh. Movie assignment. Everybody has to watch Stigmata, the movie Stigmata. And we're going to talk about it on. Let me give y'all some time. We're going to talk about it on Thursday. The movie Stigmata. So, movie Stigmata, y'all. Let me write it down. Thursday. We're going to talk about the movie Stigmata. Because there's some esoteric shit we can get out of that movie. Definitely. The power of magnetism. And the power of magnetism goes much deeper than opposites form the attraction. It is what like is actually opposites attract is kind of a misteaching of it. It is likeness attracts likeness. So you have to become that to which you seek to have come to you or towards anybody else. But you can also, a deeper understanding is repelling things away from you as well. Ever wonder what you really look like? No, I don't. I've never thought about that. Because for right now, I really look like me. But I understand what you're saying. But because I have no memory of any other plane of existence, I can only be whatever I decide to be on that plane. When I'm on that next plane, then I'll know, then that's what I'll look like. But as far as just the pure energy of it, can't even imagine. The more you chase, the more it resists. Yeah. You have to find the right place to put your focus in order to attract things to you. Yep, Ashura Star Goddess. Well, hers just says Ashura Goddess. I don't know if she got a star in there. It just says Ashura Goddess. Oh, I just know her YouTube name, so maybe on other channels she got other names. We are glorified meat sacks. Yep. Oh, I didn't know she was controversial. And some of these things I have been like writing for As a Man Thinketh, Think and Grow Rich. All these, they've been in all these books have given you a little bit. You know, all these people have known how to use the power of the mind, right? But when you understand how to use like you see so many Christians today are getting involved in Reiki. They're starting to talk about chakras. I remember telling pastors 8-9 years ago, hey, if you don't start talking about energy transmutation, you're going to start losing people because your Christians are going to understand this as more and more information comes out. And they're talking about chakras and manipulating their energy and sex transmutation and all these things. And they just not getting it. But now what are people realizing even in Christianity? That those energies are real. There was a energy transmutation right there in the Bible, right in their face, without people even realizing. When that woman with the issue of blood grabbed the hem of his garment, what did Jesus say? I felt the energy go out from me. Now, if you are God, you can never not be God. So you can't lose energy. But he felt the energy go out, and that energy supposedly healed this woman. That's energy transmutation. That's moving that energy because she believed so strongly, her own belief, that all she needed to do was touch him. Now they'll say it's faith, and it is faith, but her belief, it was her mind that healed her. If this was real, it would have been her mind that healed her. But the fact that he lost some energy also means that she was an energy vampire, that she stole some energy. She took some of his energy. It's raining in Africa at the moment. Where in Africa, David? Africa is a big ass continent. This is reminding me of the salt line test, and how the, what do you mean slit? Oh, how the beam wave, and then it became a particle base off of being observed. So the on perception, and as we perceive, exactly. Isn't that amazing, Josh? That when the beam was being watched, observed, it changed its pattern. But then when it's not being watched and observed, it lends to the law of correspondence, where there is a consciousness at multiple different levels. There is consciousness. And once something is being observed, it changes how it functions. Just like we do. When we're being observed, we act one way. When we're not being observed, we act a different way. Seen it twice, talking about Stigmata. Yep, y'all gonna watch Stigmata, goddamn it. We watching Stigmata. And I got way behind, so I'm skipping down to where I can see everything. Oh, she talks about gold digging. People don't like that. Well, they'll get over it. The Game of Life, Florence Chauvin, Chien. I don't know that one. But yes, energy transfers, energy moves. Energy never stands still. And when we understand that, and we can understand the pole that we're dealing with, we can manipulate the energy of almost anything. And when you can manipulate energy, you can then manifest and change anything. Well, Hebrew mystics classed witchcraft and ignored. I don't know what you mean by that one, John. You kind of with Hebrew mystical classed witchcraft and ignored. Don't get it. She was an energy harvester. They don't realize that when you bang someone, you are now inviting spirits, and the host is carrying into you. Yeah, you can give away your energy during sex, or you can maintain it, and you can usurp someone's energy during sex. Depends on where your mind is in the process. Yeah. Let me tell you, one of the things about what Lumi just said, they don't even realize people will harvest your chakra energies and you take it to someone else. When I was younger, I used to always wonder, why is it that when men ejaculate, they go to sleep, but women most often seem to be more energized after having sex? And then I started understanding energy transmutation and realized that the man is giving his energy to that woman, and then that's why that woman becomes energized. And it's not everybody, but in general, that's what my question and answer was. I was asking people these questions, doing my own little study. And most people don't even think about that or realize that you're giving away your energy when you're having sex. So you have to be able to choose. When you in Tantra, you develop the sense of choosing when to give your energy away and when not to give your energy away. And the only time you give your energy is when you are you're connecting with that person, right? So that's the only time you willfully give your energy away, it's only during connection. Most men are just giving it away, period. But then they won't have any, they don't develop emotional connections either. What about alcohol? It's called spirits. Yeah, well, they believe that alcohol was causing demonic spirits to rise up out of people. Don't watch you. Grand Rising Herbal Tea. Don't watch you much. Okay. I'm glad you're here today. I had to make, I'm going to say that so wrong. Yesterday to cleanse my house because a lot of energy in my house that I don't like. Yeah. And people call that witchcraft. Kampala. Oh, Kabbalah. Yeah, the Jewish mysticism of Kabbalah. You have to be 40. You have to really know the Torah and all that kind of stuff before they even let you study that. But Jewish witchcraft, Matata, would be the Kabbalah, would be the Kabbalah. And in many other religions, like Ifa and other voodoo and hoodoo and voodoo, they use alcohol and they use cigars for their mystical practices. I don't know about American shapeshifters. What if you put it on her and not in her? Does it matter? It does. You put it in. Appreciate that, herbal tea. Grand Rising Mike. But yeah, anytime, like even when my family came over here, I had a bunch of my family over at the house for my born day. Shit, burned some sage and some incense when them jokers left. Jewish witchcraft was displayed, but that tree of life was stolen from us. I think the tree of life, the thing about the tree of life though, it shows up in cultures that never had contact with each other. Whether we're talking about like the Hopi Indians or the Norse with Yggdrasil, the tree of life is a common thought process. And I just think it's common because ancient man had trees and that's how they understood it. And they understood the power of it and the network of it, that the tree is also symbolizes as above, so below. The roots look like the branches and on the ground and the branches above. You're gonna take Trauma's phone. Grand Rising Edward. You meant disgusted, not displayed. Now I gotta go back to what you said. Oh, Jewish witchcraft is disgusting, but that was okay. I see what you're saying. You giving sex info now? Always, my guy. As I look, I actually like talking about sex more than I like talking about this. You know, to be honest. And since I'm not going to make another channel, I will start having a bit more equal dispersion of information, but mainly focus on tantra, sex magic, that sort of thing. And I think that everybody deserves to have a great sex life for the pure pleasure of it all. Yep, when people pray over their food, that's a form of spell work. Like if there is poison in this food, you're trying to get God to make an energy transmutation of the poison into something healthy, or defend your body against the poison. Grand Rising Dorian. Yeah, there's a lot of toxic people, and we all should be careful who we're around, because what was the movie with Denzel Washington when that spirit was just jumping from people to people to people? People can give you their bad energy, their negative energy, and mess up yours. They can do that easily. Oh yeah, I love talking about sex magic. You doing some sex magic? Trust me. That RV, part of the way that RV is gonna get purchased is because of some sex magic. So what is sex tantra? Tantra is just the process of understanding sex magic. It's understanding how the energies work in sex. As far as if you want to connect with somebody, you don't want to connect with somebody, you want to break ties, you want to heal from trauma, sexual traumas, or you want to manifest things by using your sexual energies, which is your sexual energy are incredibly strong. And, like your emotional energy can sometimes have negative emotions can easily outweigh them, and your mental energies, doubt can easily, confuse or take away from your mental energy. Your sexual energies, if you understand them, can be just pure, just like your gut energy. It just comes pure, without reason and without emotions blocking them. But if you can combine the emotion, the targeted emotion and the targeted thoughts with your sex energy, then the ability to manifest things becomes greater. Bless the food, sprinkle some blood on that food. That's nasty trauma. Your sex life is off the chart. Good. So if your sex life is off the chart, but then if y'all can focus that sexual energy into manifesting whatever it is you desire, it's even more powerful. Right, you're blending your energies to become one. People pray over junk. It's called falling. Okay. People do pray over some stupid shit. Grand Rising Felicia. I haven't seen Felicia in a minute. Oh, John Mormon. What he means is that he said earlier that the word bless, which I did look up, means to sprinkle blood. So he's making that as a joke. When you bless your food, you're sprinkling blood over your food. But someone has been trying to manifest me in, but I put up a block. Yeah. And that's another thing about, like, so you will have people that try to invoke bad intentions towards you. There are blocks that you can put up that's what this whole purpose of this symbol was originally in every religion. Every religion that has used this symbol, even Christianity once used this signal, it is to block the evil intentions of other energies and other people. Yeah. If you and your mate can have an incredibly strong orgasm at the exact same time, your ability to manifest something, and both of y'all minds are the same. Remember, even in the Bible, it said when two come together, but in I think it's the secret writings it's one of them, one of the Gnostic ones. It says a husband and wife though come together, and we can take COME to CUM. But when a husband and wife come together, they can the two of them. They are then more powerful than anything else. When it said that in the Gnostics, it was talking about, in my opinion, sex magic, because those two, Grand Rising Brett W, coming together like that, and that intense orgasm, you manifest anything. And there was this show that I liked watching called The Magician. It was a really good show. It kind of went off the rails on like the third season, I think. But in the first couple of seasons, there was one instance, and I think that might have still been the first season, or it might have been the second, where this couple, these two had to have sex and they needed to go somewhere or do something with magic, but they had to orgasm at the same time with the intent of going to that place or whatever they was trying to do. Right. And there was a great example of that. I'm gonna research that trauma. If blessing means sprinkle blood originally. You know, I like to understand what the original meanings of something was. Grand Rising RG. They talk bad about witchcraft and voodoo. Goddamn. I want to see what you said on that one. With the medicine bag was the one who healed the slave owner. Yeah, they talk bad about it, but when they came up and they knew how to heal you from plants, they sure utilized it. Yeah, it was demonized. Now the pharmaceuticals are using the exact same thing, and then they just chemicalize the plants. Grand Rising, Sister Love from Florida. Been trying to manifest you to break up you and your husband. What is it? Wards. Thank you. I was trying to think of the name, and I was saying thank you to myself. You have to put up wards. How can you tell what? I think you're talking to Illumini. I always tell people don't pray for me because I never know what their prayers they're giving you. I also don't go to church. My higher being lives in me and not in the sky. I am the living God and the power. Exactly. And that's why I ask people not to pray for me, because I know that there are Christians out there praying for me all the time. Those who I don't even know, who just see my videos and they're going to pray for me. And I'm like, hell no. I don't want you praying for me at all. You know, my defense is my wars are strong. Don't tell Angelina, but when I moved into this house, I put some wards up on this house. The medical field has occasionally been viewed as necromancy, punishable by religion. Yeah, many different people back in the day, John Dees, Da Vinci, almost faced heresy for their medical practices. Praying to make illnesses go away, considered normal. Taking medicine that will make it go away, considered witchcraft. And Grand Rising Keith, and you're right in that one. There are, especially, who is it? Who doesn't take medicine? I know Jehovah's Witnesses don't do blood transfusions, but that's because they're mixing blood. But it's somebody who don't take medicines. It's another group that doesn't take medicines at all because they consider that to be witchcraft and they just try to pray it away. So return to sender. Exactly. Take your witchcraft and give it back. And that's why I do tell some of those Christians, I'm like, the Amish, okay. It's somebody else too, though. It's somebody else who doesn't allow, they don't take medicines. Not just the Amish. Oh, that's my maps. What denomination of Christianity don't take medicines? Well, this ain't telling me what I want to know. No, I don't want Quora, whatever it's called. Well, Jehovah's Witnesses is definitely one that first came up. Oh, there's one called the Christian Science. That's the one I was actually trying to think of. Christian Science. I think those are the ones I've seen in the news back in the day that was getting kind of catching flack for having people dying, especially with children. Right, and they don't take vaccines. And I ain't gonna lie, but it wasn't because of religion. But after a while in the Marine Corps, after they said, okay, we're giving y'all malaria shots to go into Liberia and all this, and Liberia and possibly Angola. And what they gave us was yellow. And then they was like, well, we also got some humanitarians of giving people some malaria shots that we sent it into some of these other African countries. But the vials were white, or were clear. Not white, it was clear. I was like, hold on. Either they giving them some fake shit, or they gave us some fake shit. Now, most likely, they gave us the real stuff, but they're giving them something different. So my distrust for vaccines started right then. It started right then. How the hell you gonna give us? You give us one thing, then you say you're giving the same thing to somebody else. And they were from the same company. The same company. And it was the same batch numbers on it. So I was like, that's some bullshit. Well, it wasn't let me rephrase it. It wasn't the same batch numbers, but it had the same serial number, which identified what type of medicine it was supposed to be. So, because they had different batch numbers. And some people were saying that, oh, well, that's just, different batches may look different. I was like, bullshit. My grandmother prayed while one of his sons, the grandfather prayed while one of his sons died, but this was in deep Africa 80 years ago. And people did that. Where are you from, David? Wait a minute. Are you David? You're from Cape Town or Johannesburg? I know I think, right? The name Christian doesn't carry any weight and doesn't speak for all Christians. The wicked Vatican claim Christianity but worship Satan. Now, Clarence, isn't it interesting that every denomination of Christianity claims to be real Christians? Every last one of y'all, every last denomination claims to be real Christians, and that the other ones aren't. So how would any one of y'all ever know that y'all are real Christians? Because I think you're a Christian. I'm not sure, but I think you are. The Amish got it right. They're peaceful. Yeah, I don't take vaccine. Now some medicines I will take. Sometimes I will. I get a muscle cramp. I'm gonna take that muscle spasm pill. I'm taking that one. Yeah, I know you meant pray. Yeah, but don't take any fluid, no flu, no COVID. Don't come me with all that. Right, you're in Johannesburg, and I think Brian D is in Cape Town. True, John. We were given vaccines that aren't available to the regular person because of some of the countries we go in. But I don't trust them motherfuckers. I don't trust none of them. I won't go into the reasons, but good man caused that was one of the worst ones to be put into a human. But good man causes was one. You talking about how they put HIV into people to test it out, see if it can be a biological weapon. Then they lost control of it. Is that what you're talking about? Is that what you're talking about? Okay. Talk about HIV. Yeah. Every denomination of Christianity always claim that they're the right one, they're the real one, that the rest of them are fake or they're Satanists or whatever. There's so much confusion in Christianity that don't none of them know that they who's right, who's wrong. When at the end of the day, they all wrong. All of them wrong. They are all wrong. And they are all practicing witchcraft. And what's sad, and I don't normally, I don't normally do this. I don't normally say this, but I wouldn't normally say this unless I've seen it. Right. I really try to stay within the realms of what I've experienced myself or researched myself or studied myself. Right. And that's some of the people at the higher levels. I know how I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite, but only because I've actually seen it. But at higher levels of the Christian organizations, they practice a different level of witchcraft, of what they would call witchcraft or mysticism. Let me stop. Mysticism. They practice a different level of mysticism. What is your knowledge and experience on astral projection? It took me a decade or two to be able to do it, but I've done it. But it took a long time for me to get there. Mm-hmm. Grand Rising Sharif. Uh, Nabila. Am I saying Nabila right? Nabila. But yes, the local shamans in every group, if they couldn't convert those shamans over into their Christianity, they would kill them and kill and destroy them. Right. Man can exist. So when we went through the Hermetics, the Kabbalion rather, and we was talking about spiritual plane, the plane of matter, the mental mind, CBA, and then the spirit mind, CBA. The spirit mind of man, A, is right there with the mental mind of man, A, the mental plane of A and the spiritual plane of C are right there. And we can vacillate between the two. And some can go higher than that. We know he's the author of all kind of confusion. Is there any specific diet that you have to be on in order to astral project? No, I don't think there's any specific diet because um, whether I'm eating meat or not, I've astral projected. Whether I was now I do um, so I do cleanse my body when I want to do it. I want to do it like let's say I wanted to astral project, then I spend about a good 4 or 5 days of meditating, and I will cleanse my body. I will stop eating meat definitely during that time frame, meat and dairy, so that I can have the clearest conscience that I can possibly have. And you eat a lot of um, dark green leafies and dark fruits. But that is mainly so that my body is you. So you do need. So yeah, I guess you do need your body to be as clean as you can possibly can at the time frame. But it's more of a mental thing than it is a body thing. Answer all my questions. My father was a Marine. Simplify. Happy Veterans Day to your father. And I was surprised with some of the stories he told me about the military. He was in Korean War, so that's how old he is. I'm sure they tested. Man, hell yeah. That's the other part. Other than giving us stuff that's not available to other people, the military is also a testing ground to see like how different things affect people. Right. Exactly, Edward. It's mental, more mental than his diet. I just cleanse my body for the process. It just makes it easier for my mind to be focused on it when my body is cleaner. Now, and I would say it like your body, getting your body in line with your mind, with your mental state. If you're trying to have a clean mental state and having a clean body helps your mind set to be cleaner. We're an hour and 36 minutes in. You know, y'all be taking me off subject at this point. I don't want to take you off subject. What do you think about these scientists, Yakub? Didn't we talk about that fake ass story that the Nation of Islam came up with? It's either deity of the KVJ Bible that killed in order to kill. It also said that he created 666 ether beings, European and Caucasians, and that's why Europeans have mastered the art of war. That is a fake ass Nation of Islam story in order for them to justify their hatred towards white people and to justify why white people did what they did in the more recent histories of the last 1500 years. But it's a made up story. If you go to any other Muslim outside of the Nation of Islam and you bring up Yaqub, they can be like, huh? What? Who? Getting into a bad wreck in 2019, I guess it knocked something loose. And then I started to project, and I have been trying since I was 14. When I found out about it, was hard to control. I had to make it stop. You felt like it was starting to warp you. Yeah, that's the thing. Sometimes head trauma can release some shit in your head. It's it's like it not open a dam that was blocking. Uh, would be cool, Grand Rising Greg, to relate your views to the modern BS people are buying into with Israel and Palestine. What do you mean by that, Greg? Exactly. It would be cool to relate my views to the modern BS people. Before I speak on that, I would want kind of need a deeper. I don't understand what you mean. You've been stuck before and couldn't get back. There was only one time where I kind of got lost, uh, but then I tapped my way back. Literally, I use tapping in a lot of my processes, and tapping is certain points of the body that are relatable to different things. You know, certain taps, certain taps, certain taps, certain tap. You got your chakra taps. But you got other certain taps as well that are relatable to different things. Uh, I'm not an expert on tapping, but just enough that when I astral project and I'm lost, you know, I'll start tapping to find myself. And it really is just a process of how much does this really mean? It means a little bit, but it's really the mental thing of tapping the remembrance of where my body is. So, which brings back to this all this mental. amethyst crystals and mugworts. To easy to astral project. I don't know about. I've never heard. I don't. I've heard of mugwort. I've never used mugwort, but that's why I got a big ass amethyst. Well, I have a big amethyst. I've seen some of them tall amethysts like this, and things are like $2,000-3,000. Like I got this. I got a big amethyst for me. What's my topic for today? That Christians practice witchcraft. I guess that's why Paul is saying no. But you're late, Paul. We went through all the stuff that Christians do that is witchcraft. That is just like witchcraft. The only reason a person like Paul would not call it witchcraft, because as the answer to the question that we gave at the very beginning, a Christian can do the exact same thing that somebody else does in their what they call witchcraft, but because they're doing it for their God, it's not witchcraft. Pressure points, different tempo patterns. Some do. I don't know, NIW. I'm sure that was a mistype. If you're saying the Bible witchcraft, no, it's not. But the Bible is witchcraft. The Bible has witchcraft all in it. It has divinations, it has oracles, it has spells. It has the burning of incense and other candles and things of that nature. It has rituals that you're supposed to follow. It has covens. It has all the different aspects of witchcraft. Hell, it tells you how you're supposed to dress and walk and enter the holiest of holy. Hell, 2 people got killed for building the fire wrong because they didn't build the fire the ritualistic way. You got your whole communion of eating the bread and drinking the wine, which is your blood, a blood covenant, as well as the dying and sacrificing of animals and humans. It's witchcraft, my guy. If you call somebody else doing the same thing that you do witchcraft, then what you do is witchcraft as well. Get some mugwort. I'm gonna get some mugwort. Angelina, I know you on here somewhere. Mugwort. Right. Energy transference rituals to achieve a certain state of being. Then I put on an amethyst on my third eye and I do it effortlessly. All right. I've never done it through that process. I just do it through meditation. Setting up the space, the mental environment, and then through meditation. So you did it once in your life, you don't know how you did it. Never did it again. When I used to tell my story, they looked at me like something was on my face. Hey man, got to do it again, Dory. That's the only way. It's like everything. Practice makes perfect. Never got pulled into a direction I couldn't control. The incense is known to give you hallucinations. Yeah. Remember before Esther went for her one night with the king, she had to fumigate her face. The fumigating of the face back in those Persian times was to breathe in incense that would give you that euphoric feel or hallucinations. So Esther did some magic. I know enough to get back when I get stuck. My alarm went off for work while experiencing the astro. How is the book is going to get me right when there are better books to read? Exactly. That's a whole damn subject upon itself, Edward. There are better books to get you into a better mindset and a better life than the Bible. Uh, if somebody asked the question, a religion to follow, even though it's still not a religion, it's still more of a philosophy, but it's closer to it, has some similarities to a religion. The Tao is a better book. The Tao Te Ching is a better book than the Bible. It is. I would rather somebody say I'm Taoist and I'm going to follow Taoism. I'm going to follow Taoism than follow the Bible. And it's simple, it's easy to understand, it's easy to read. It is a philosophy of how to live your life, how to govern, and you're a better person than the Bible and all this genocide. If somebody was Taoist, they would not have said, like Michelle Salzman, kill them all when they're all dead. Then we can have a ceasefire. Because there's no genocide in the Tao. There's no genocide. There's no raping. There's no slavery. There's none of those things are in the Tao. You actually go against war. Oh yeah, there are better books. And of course, the Kabbalion is way better. Look up the movie Perfume. All right. Now, for those who came late, Thursday, I mean, we do a live every Monday through Friday, but Thursday, Stigmata. You got to watch the movie Stigmata before Thursday. So we're going to talk about it. Just like, well, I forgot how. That last movie that y'all chose, who picked that movie? It was good, but it was kind of boring. That M. Night Shyamalan movie. A club that I started holding meetings in, a club I was in started holding meetings in a Protestant church, warned the collection of New Age closet witches, druids I had somehow collected to be respectful. I was laughed at. Walked in one evening to find them in terror. One had been blasted out of the sanctuary. Warned the collection of New Age closet witches, druids. Okay, I'm not fully understanding what you mean, gentlemen. You was in a club that was started, that I was in, started holding meetings in the Protestant church. Warned the collection of New Age closet witches, druids I had somehow collected to be respectful. I don't know what the heck you're talking about. It kind of confusing me. Is it just me that's not understanding what John is saying? You walked in to find your club members in terror, or the witches and the druids in terror? And what was your club? You lived that movie Stigmata? Like the Stigmata happened, you lived the movie meaning the Stigmata happened to you? Or you lived the movie where you was the priest who was investigating the Stigmata? I'm with you. I just love the juice and the crackers too. And after the church service, all the juice that was left up there, they let the kids come up and just drink all that grape juice. And I was the first kids up there, just chugging all the grape juice. Or you lived the movie The Village, Edward. No, don't start talking about The Village now, David. You should have been here on the video 2 Mondays ago when we talked about the movie The Village. But yes, it was a great movie as far as how indoctrination works and isolation can work and mind control. So Edward, maybe you meant that one. I heard some people say and believe that the so-called white people are believed to be some kind of alien that came to this so-called Earth through some sort of portal near the Caucasus Mountains. My question is, how true is it? It is not true at all. People just making up shit in order to justify trying to make people different and understand why a group of people that was more technologically advanced but living on a landmass that didn't provide enough resources for their people can go out and do the things that they did. So it's not true at all. Prophecy is not. My question is it true? The prophet this propaganda. And other day I was watching a Rashad Jamal video. I don't know who that is. I'm sure you might as well have seen one of his videos. He was saying that they came from another realm and they don't belong here. Um, they came to destroy the land and the planet. See, I think people like that have realized that there's a niche, there's a hook that you can get people who feel disenfranchised, people who feel like the world is against them, that they can't overcome something, or that there's this massive struggle, that they can create this enemy in such a way that that is the only thing that the person has to worry about. If a person was truly trying to lead a oppressed group out of their oppression, then the first thing they would do is work with the people inwardly as well as outwardly, but as far as what the systems that are set in place to block those people. Trying to make the people into some July 4th aliens that came in and set up this whole system. No, that's scapegoating. So that the people can say that there's an enemy that's actually a little bit beyond their control, and then you don't have to put forth any solutions. That's just have I ever used sensational titles to get people to watch a video? Yes. But that's having a sensationalized topic or belief that has no foundation in any facts whatsoever. Okay, Dave. So you was using the village type of style. Okay. I didn't know if you meant Stigmata because I said both movies before I saw you coming. The Witch Drew, the New Agers viewed Protestant Christians as ignorant children. I kind of view all of them that way, but not so much ignorant, because they're not ignorant. They just have cognitive dissonance. They just refuse to accept things that are right in their face. Oh, Rashad Jamal's a murderer and child molester. Oh my gosh. I've never heard of this guy. Oh Lord, he is not one of those people who say you can get to Egypt through the Grand Canyon. These people with this whole Egypt and Grand Canyon thing and not realizing it's a hoax. It was a hoax. It has been proven over and over again that it was a hoax by the Arizona Gazette or some Arizona newspaper. The video you did on Morgan Freeman, you said that the Chickasaw owned African slaves, that the name Freeman came from the free African slaves in the Choctaw tribe. Yes, the Choctaw. But the Chickasaw also owned slaves. But yeah, but it wasn't just the Choctaw who used the term freeman to recognize slaves that were either freed after the revolution, after the Civil War, or those who escaped and were in the Seminoles, and they would allow for escaped slaves to come and join their tribe, especially in fighting the Seminole Wars, and they would call them freemen. Right? They were black freemen, and that name became popularized to identify slaves who were now free. So in that video, now the Morgan Freeman portion of it, Morgan Freeman wasn't the one who was claiming that he was Choctaw Indian. That was the creator. So when I was saying about Morgan Freeman not being Choctaw Indian, that was the creator of that video who was saying that he was Choctaw because his grandmother or mother was born in that little town in Bisa, which was a Choctaw town. I was saying how Morgan Freeman was trying to say, I'm not African. I woke up one morning and I was African because he was talking about political correctness, but he was just saying that he just wanted to be considered American. That would be great later on. But right now, no. When you to go around spouting that I'm just American, I'm just an American, you are ignoring all the hardships and all the roadblocks that are still in place government wise that are blocking people from being just Americans. And in his level of finances, yes, for the most part, he's American. Until that one cop pulled his ass over. Then he's gonna realize how he ain't American. Right? Because he does not have all the rights and freedoms of America. And until we all have that, then no, you ain't American. So that's the bullshit on Morgan Freeman. But it was the creator of that who was trying to say that he was claiming Choctaw. He is not. That creator has a lot of videos where he superimposed somebody saying something and making them Choctaw. Actually, Morgan Freeman's family, his great grandmother, Celie Carr, was married to a white man. And even though the marriage wasn't considered legal initially, she and her 13 children, they all, even after the Civil War, they all stayed and lived with her husband. I forgot his first name. It's like starts with an A, something Carr. And no, his heritage is a black African slave who was married to a white man. And they lived together until 1877. And their original last name was Carr. And then when his family, but somehow his other family members became part of the Choctaw Nation, and they were called Freemans. Look into the description of the Anunnaki of their slave race. I can't recall seeing any descriptions of. I mean, the only descriptions of the slave race for the Anunnaki that I've seen is the ones that they drew, and they look like, stone carvings of humans, of what we kind of look like today, just smaller. Hey, Coach, do you think that fraternities and sororities are the same as religions? Except they don't have a deity. That's the thing. You don't have to believe in a deity. You don't have to believe in the same deity, I should say. Not they don't have. You don't have to believe in the same deity. But do they have rituals that are rituals and just rituals? Do they have rituals and do they have chants and things like that? Yeah, but not the same as religion. Do you know that a lot of the mainstream media debunking are cover-ups? They work for whoever's in power. Yeah, of course. I've been a part of that myself. We did something, but we had the media tell you that it was something else. So I don't trust everything I see the media talk about. Oh, but don't get me wrong. The Chickasaw, if you're part of if it was one of the 5 civilized tribes, the so-called 5 civilized tribes, I'm gonna stop calling them that. If it was part of the 5 Europeanized tribes, then yeah, them motherfuckers own slaves. They bought slaves. They bought African slaves. They were able to distinguish the difference between them and the African slaves, and they treated them as such, as slaves. Religion taps into emotions. You have people in a number of endeavors that treat like religion. Yeah, now they will treat them like it's a religion, but it doesn't have the same power as a religion. It really doesn't. A person can be a member of a fraternity and sorority. Well, let me not say that, because that's actually the same way people are religion. They half-ass it. They walk away from it. You're making this a hard case here for me to say that it's not like religion. The only thing that's not like religion is that they don't have one centralized deity. So I guess that's the only difference. Real difference is they don't have one centralized deity. So yeah, I guess they are a lot like religions. you get me on that one. Yeah, I guess they are kind of like religion. But that not having that one centralized deity is a very important part of religion, though. It's like a big one. But the emotional connection, the brotherhood aspects of it, sisterhood aspect, they got all of that. But to be a religion, you got to have that centralized deity, which is what they don't have. So that's why I'm sticking to my guns. It's not like religion because you don't have that very important part that is vital to being a religion. But they have similar traits. Yeah, but very similar traits. All right, I'm taking the band off of this cigar. All right, it's a band. I took the band off the cigar. All right, Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. This is a cigar. I took the band off. You got to satisfy the algorithm. But now there are people who are more devout to their sorority or fraternity than they are to their religion. You have fanaticism on all sides. Yeah, unfortunately, we are still human, which is unfortunate. We need to be better than humans. Right, Marx viewed feudalism as perfect because everyone operated as love. Well, philosophy is a religion without a godhead. True. That's why, like Taoism, I don't know much about feudalism. I know something. I know the basics of feudalism. But that's why Taoism, that's why I struggle when I say it's a philosophy, but you can look at it as religion. It does talk about the way, which is like the energy of the universe. The primary intelligent energy of the universe is called the way. It is sometimes referred to as him, sometimes referred to as her. So it's androgynous or hermaphrodite, whichever way you want to call it. Having both masculine and feminine energy in balance. And that's what Taoism really is about, being in balance with the universe. But truly, it's a philosophy, but it does have somewhat of a centralized deity, but not identified in such a way that other religions are. There's a part I'm trying to remember. Which part? There's a part I'm trying to remember which part. Remember, I have both deep and dark net information about the progression of the new model and to find ones we're about to dominate. Dominating a race is either continue. But see, it's hard to know exactly what you're talking about without seeing the other part. Let me see. What was the other part so I can connect this? Okay, gotcha. I don't know. That's why I'm still a little leery about getting into the deep web. I ain't messing with the dark net at all. I might need you to send me an email, Oki, so I can get into this deep web, because there are more information out there that we just don't know. And things are going on, and we're constantly being lied to for whatever the profit margin is for whatever country is putting that information out, or company, corporations, or groups. Labeled as his cousin to the monkeys. Well, if we have that same hominid that the monkeys branched off of, then would we not be cousins? We're 98% different. There's 2% different between a human and a chimpanzee, 20% different between a human and an octopus. So it's like chimpanzees are our first cousin, but the octopus is like our fourth cousin, twice removed. I think we're gonna have similar DNA because we all come from the same planet. I don't know if that means we came from a common ancestor or anything like that, but we definitely came from the same planet. Why is it that blacks are referred to as African Americans when whites aren't referred to as European Americans? Because they won, because they were in power. If Africans had came here and colonized America and took control of America, then it would be reversed. And then we went over and snatched up Caucasians for slaves, then they would be considered, and they were the oppressed group. They would be calling themselves Irish Americans, or well, actually, a lot of Irish Americans do call themselves Irish Americans, but they would call themselves some type of European American as well. It's all about power dynamics as to why that is. We came up with the term African American to reattach ourselves to our ancestry, since we pretty much lost our ancestry. Well, lost the knowledge of our ancestry. So it's just power dynamics. The final models that were either Caucasian or Chinese. I think Chinese and Caucasian came from adaptation, not so much gene manipulation. Cavasso, I am Zambian by location. Nice. And here people take Christianity very seriously because the country itself was declared a Christian nation. So my question is, does the practice that was done in Numbers, the practices that was done in Numbers in the Ark of the Covenant, witchcraft or not caused in my country when one found doing the practice of such? Practice of killing a chicken as well as a bull, drain the blood and do some, saying he is or she is called a witch. But in the Bible, these things were done, and these people. You must be using talking text a little bit, but I think I got what you're saying. But yes, it's all witchcraft. They just don't call it that because it's done under the name of the Jesus God. So, but it's still all the same thing, and it's still all witchcraft either way. I think we're beyond human. We are beyond the classification of human. We are way greater than that. Man has always tried to categorize things in a way that man can understand it. Texas guys, Grand Risings. And Texas guys makes a good point. We've changed our name over the decades, and others have changed our names over the, I say decades, but centuries, for what fits during the culture of that day. And she's right. When I was living in Tampa, and apartheid had ended, some years prior, and there was a huge number of Caucasian South Africans living in Tampa, and they were American citizens now. Technically, they're African American. So there is a difference between, to me, there is a difference between if we're talking about African American. If I'm talking to other people in general, we know what we mean by African American. But if we was talking about it technically, then those who have moved from Africa to America and have become citizens, they are truly African American. And they are of many different colors. I know there were plenty of Asians who were born and raised. What my man says, Zimbabwe, there's tons of Asians who moved to Zimbabwe. And if they move to America and become a citizen, they're African American. So it's all relative to what we're talking about. What we are as spiritual as what we are as spiritual as an animal, and humans are part of the animal kingdom. Yeah. Humans is part of the animal kingdom, which lives here in this gross matter plane. But there are spiritual levels, energy levels that you can either call them spiritual levels or energetic levels that we ascend to or have within us. Buddhism is a philosophy on one hand, yet tied to ancestral worship and polytheism on the other hand. You're right about that one, except for the polytheism part. Hinduism wasn't polytheistic until Christians came and told them that they're polytheistic. What the true Indus culture believed is that Brahma is the creator of all things and is all things, and all the other what the Christians call deities were just aspects of Brahma, but still Brahma. So they're not really polytheistic, and Buddhism comes out of Hinduism. So there is really, in truth, it's not polytheistic, but they've convinced them that they're polytheistic. Is it Caucasian or Chinese with snake DNA modifications? I ain't never heard of that. With sex, you talking about the adaptations? Yep, there's a whole bunch of. If that's what you're talking about, there's a whole bunch of adaptations happen with sex. Where does not monkeys? Sheila, I don't think that's what you meant. Tell me, we're not monkeys. No, we're not monkeys. At the end of the day, Edward is right. We all come from the same energy. We all come from energy. Everything is energy. What was this country named before it was America? It wasn't a country in the sense of a country. It was different territories controlled by different indigenous tribes. So it wasn't like how if when you went to the Caribbean and there was an island and that island had a name because those inhabitants controlled that entire island, right? There was no one group that controlled the entire landmass or even, large enough. Well, there was some large enough to be a nation, but they didn't look at land ownership the same way that Europeans looked at land ownership. They were part of the land. So depending on where you were, they named their territory different names. Like people like to talk about this as Turtle Island, but all the native tribes didn't call this Turtle Island, but we've latched on to one. What do you think about Smokey Robinson wanting to be known as a Black American, not as an African American? I have to look more into his statements concerning that to truly understand what he means, or just on the offset, this sounds like another person's trying to detach himself from his African heritage. And it's shameful that people are embarrassed about it because they don't want to think about their ancestors being enslaved. Nobody wants to think about their ancestors losing and being enslaved and that sort of thing. Everybody wants to think that their ancestors were, they fought. They rather their ancestors died fighting than becoming enslaved. And I can understand the mentality of that. But, it is what it is. We're apes, not monkey. Or that spell check. The spell check will mess you up in a minute. I put some titles out there that I was like, oh, that's not what I actually meant. But then the title still worked anyway. So I was like, all right, whatever. Yeah, we're more close to apes than we are to monkeys. Monkeys would be like our second or third cousin. But we're all from the earth. First of all, you need to glitch the device off on the mainframe on outdated devices. See, you know what? I'm gonna have somebody come into the house and set up a deep web, or something, because I don't want to mess it up. You can get me in trouble. boy, y'all going into the monkeys with the tails and all that. I'm talking about genetics. Old tradition minus minimum of 3 generations in land to be viewed as natives. I don't know. I know I was talking about the if you weren't on the Dawes Commission's records, then you weren't considered native. But you saying that you got 3 generations? Oh, 3 generations in the land to be native. I see what you're saying. Well, that makes me native to America. No, Africa wasn't called a Kibulan. In the East African area, it was called a Kibulan at one point, but all of Africa was never called. All Africans never called the land a Kibulan. That was an East African name. See, that's what we can't do, Trump. We can't take it. Just like somebody said, it's raining in Africa earlier, and I was like, no, it ain't raining on the whole continent. That's like me saying it's raining in America. It's not raining here in Georgia, but Georgia is in America. Well, it's not raining where I'm at in Georgia, but Georgia is in America. But somewhere in America, it probably is raining. But that doesn't mean it's raining in all of America. But a Kibulan was an East African name that was only used by East Africans. Sub-Saharan Africans didn't use a Kibulan. Now, as that name did become popularized, there were generations in the 60s that started calling it a Kibulan. In my country, Christianity has made the practice of rituals, which some call witchcraft, so wrong. So my question is practicing witchcraft wrong or right? It's neither. It's like a hammer. You can build a house or you can bash somebody's head in. It's a tool for you to understand your mental energies and all energies, and how you use them makes the difference. European Christians contain pagan beliefs. They sure do. So what about cinnamon is the part of the witchcraft? Oh, communion. Drinking the blood and eating the body. And it's a ritual. It's a repetitive ritual. The truth is in the matrix is in the history of the religion that we have all been raised with. Rely on our heritage origins. Go right. Why is my brain clicked off for a second? The truth is the matrix is the history and the religion that we have all been raised in is a lie. Yeah, I mean, most of history is a lie based on who won and then what the propaganda that they wanted to get out. It is very difficult to know the absolute truth of anything. Never heard that in your research. What a Kibulan? Look it up. Aren't rituals of drinking blood witchcraft? You can drink blood and that's witchcraft. You can drink wine and that's witchcraft. You can drink certain waters from the fountain of youth and that would be considered witchcraft. But yes, it's a blood cult witchcraft. But you know damn near anything. When I was roommating with this girl who practiced Ifa, I used to love when she did some of her rituals because she would use a cigar. She'd blow over the stuff and all that stuff, but she didn't smoke cigars. So after she finished with it, if the deity didn't call, if she didn't feel in her spirit that the deity called for the cigar to sit there, but even when a cigar won't burn itself all the way out till it's done. So when it was over, she would give me the cigar. So I always got a free cigar from her. I love when she practiced her witchcraft. I always got a free cigar out the deal. How do I feel about futurism? Um, what is futurism exactly? Is as far as I know, that's just people who try to predict the future, right? I mean, I know it seems simplistic, like I'm just looking at the name futurism, but from my understanding, that's what that is, right? How is drinking water witchcraft? Well, when you're drinking from certain pools of like the fountain of youth, believing that water, the babbling waters, and whoever gets into that water, um, they're absorbing energies from that water. But like I said, drinking from a fountain of youth, drinking holy water or being bathed in holy water, you know, it's witchcraft. It falls under the same thing that somebody who practices some other version of spiritualism and they have to consume certain things is still witchcraft. You know, putting some stuff in the water and then drinking it. When it's just using the energy and the elements of that thing. But yeah, all you have to do is put intent behind it. I can take a regular cup of water. Well, think about it. They call holy water is really just water that they've taken and they prayed over, and now it's holy. Then you have the ones that, oh, from this particular well, it's holy. You know, like if Muslims, I don't know, do Muslims claim that they know of the well where Hagar and Ishmael were, the oasis that Hagar and Ishmael were? If I would imagine if they do know where it is, or if they ever find where it is, that they would consider that the water that comes out of that well is holy water from Allah. Futurism is no religion and no government, just humans in the ecology. Uh, that would be great if we followed just the golden rule, but without the golden rule, that would be disastrous. Greed, anger, hatred would mess that up. This tobacco ain't missing nothing because this tobacco is not inhaled and it's pure and natural, no chemicals. You don't know what they putting in your weed. Now, trauma. Now, you don't know what's in that weed. They chemicalizing that weed. It ain't like the 70s weed or the 60s weed. Y'all got that chemicalized weed. Y'all smoking Black and Miles. Yes, bathing in the Black Sea is one of those things. I did the Dead Sea thing. I did go and float in the Dead Sea, but I understood the science behind it. All that salt is pulling all this toxins out of your system. Oh yeah. Just thought about something, but yeah, I can't tell you because then Angelina know what I'm thinking about, and she can't know this. There is a win in the ancestral experience. Yeah, they have paved our way. We learn from history of what's right, and that's all I think. Ancestors. That's how I look at ancestors. Learning from the history of how to avoid the same mistakes. Yeah, it's hard if your family's been in America and you black, it would be very difficult to find your ancestry because you're going to get to a point where it is very few records, and then you have to start searching newspaper articles and hope that there's something in a newspaper article that something significant happened. Angelina was showing me the other day. She was her family members out of Wilmington and Burgal, and I think it went up to shit. I forgot the other city it went to. She is able to find really good records on her family, really good records, which is not normal. But for her family members from where they are, they have some good ass records. She found the will of one of her ancestors. She found the will of the slave owner of some of her ancestors. So that shit is so hard to find. And she was showing me that last night. And I was like, I can't see. A lot of people would be like, so like, wow, that's amazing. But at the same time, like, fuck, why can't I find stuff like that? Oh, the Catholic Church stopped all that because it was considered witchcraft. And then also it would take away from the power of that they held over the people. If this Catholic priest pray over you, but you still sick, but this woman comes and heal you with some herbs and now you're well, whatever that woman believes in, that's what I need to follow. That loud, got gas in it, bad weed. Two friends debating what piece of shop to eat at politics. Your dad doesn't know what grandfather's out doing whether or not I have indigenous ancestry. I could have African or Black European ancestry. Yeah, I mean, some of my ancestry from my father's side, it goes. What made it easier is that for me is that they hadn't been in America as long as my mother's side of the family. So I was able to find his through England and then Italy and then to Mali. Because it just had better records. Muslims drink Zamzam water. What the hell is Zamzam water? Yep, you can look up census. When they took census before the Civil War, after the Civil War, you can find a lot of those, and you might be able to find names in that. Purchase documents, all kind of stuff like that. Weed saved my life, and I can thank an African herbalist. Go ahead, David. I ain't mad at you. What's the original name of Africa? There is no original name of Africa, the whole continent. Different. It's just like Europe. Europe was not always known as Europe. You had Germania, you had different names for different areas depending on what time frame we're talking about. Yep, most of our records are gone. South Africans and West Africans weren't using a kibulon until like the 60s or 50s, something like that. Pangea. That is when all the continents, all the land masses were one, and there was no evidence of any humans around during that time frame. No Homo sapiens. My ancestors are indigenous Indians, Egyptian Moors. And the only thing I ever say when because a lot of people claim that, Paul, and I'm not saying that you're one of those people, but when people say that to me, I'm like, what's your proof of it? Like that you can show your family, not some generalized thing, your family. You may have that information. If you do, that's great. It's but it's a hard thing to find and prove because Americans didn't give a shit about keeping great records at certain time frames for people of color. Right. But even when the Roman general Africanus, he was actually Punic, I think. They really was only talking about North Africa. Oh, it was a joke. You know what, Paul? See, that's why I like you and don't like you. You get on my damn nerves. Do you have a favorite music artist or genre? Not really. I'm kind of eclectic as hell. I could uh, I could play opera one moment and then switch to real rap music and start playing some X Clan or some Brand Nubians or Grand, Grand Poopa Man or some De La Soul. And then I switched to Metallica. Then I hit Garth Brooks. So I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place with music. But shit, y'all listen to some metal. Driving and Crying. I don't like grunge though. It's easier to ask me what music genre I don't like than what I do like because I pretty much like almost all music. Highway to Hell. Africa is more about tribes and tribal lands. The word Africa was introduced by the Europeans exactly. African people don't really have a name for the totality of the land masses. They don't, and even that got screwed up with the African Scramble. The African Scramble messed it all up even more because the lines were drawn and it kind of like cut tribes and tribal lands in half or thirds and all kind of stuff. Your group is Ambrosia. I couldn't pick a favorite artist because I just like so. It just depends on how I feel. Come in one day, it might be a whole bunch of Prince music playing. I can say though, my favorite country artist is a tie between Garth Brooks and Loretta Lynn. Love me some Loretta Lynn. But Garth is my guy too. Then you got some Phil Collins, and I like Phil when he was with Journey and when he wasn't with Journey. But then some Hall and Oates. Get down some Hall and Oates. Or Chicago. Now y'all just hell no, I don't like trap. And then I might have a little Pavarotti playing. Oh, Genesis. Yes, sorry. I said Journey, didn't I? But Genesis. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. But I think Marcus just be trying to throw us off, y'all. Yeah, agent. Nah, just playing. Just playing. But music is truly searching the soul. Oh yeah, my bad, my man, Johnny Cash. But Johnny Cash is good. But Johnny Cash, Loretta Lynn, Garth Brooks, Johnny Cash is like he third, he under them. But I like the Man in Black. Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. Where we can get along with. And that, I think one of the reasons why I like music is because music brings people. It can bring people together. It can bring people together. And then, like, you give me some big band jazz. Oh, I forgot about big band jazz. Oh man, I forgot about that. Big band jazz that can always get me going. And some blues. Oh, give me some good blues too. R&B, soul, jazz, pop, classical. Yep, give me some. I deal with some classical as well. Yeah, that rap music today sucks. Carpenters. No, I like Marcus. Thank you, Sheila. So I wish we would all know where we were from. They knew what they were doing. Dolly. Then she threw it right back off. Dolly Parton is classic. Sheila, I thought she was bringing us back. But yes, it would be great if we all knew where we were from. But if you want to it's kind of like controlling a controlling spouse to separate you from your family and from all your friends and isolate you. Uh, it helps to control you. So by not knowing where you're from and your heritage, it helps to control you. Yeah, I'm about to learn how to play a guitar, and so my fingers are too short for the piano. I struggle with piano, so I let it go because it was too much of a struggle. Y'all weren't there, man. What's the group for Oh Sheila? What's the group? What's the group? Because I'm telling you that damn album there, I was a teenager. That thing take you back to memories, boy. That was in the basement with the blue light on, grinding on somebody with that group. Ready for the World? Yeah, Ready for the World. That was some grinding in the basement parties music right there, boy. Y'all don't know about that. It never really mattered too much. That was some music. No, I didn't see Jazz by Ken Burns. I didn't see that. I'll look it. I'll find it. What is that on? No, see, Trauma, you know I went too far from me. I tried to learn how to play the piano in 93, from 93 to 96, and my fingers just too short. No, I just playing Marcus because if anybody ever changes, definitely changes the subject matter, it's you. So I just messing with you, dude. I just messing with you. Alfonso, Grand Rising. Some black country singers are Rashivit, Snabuzi. Yeah, I like country music. Now some of them songs be getting too damn sad, but I like me some country music. Churches like the government looking to tax you on your emotions. Mm. I'm gonna steal that statement, but you are absolutely correct. It all is just a tax on your emotion and using your emotions and your hope in order to get that money out of you. What is this witchcraft? Seal. We are still dealing with America and Israel. Is this a spirit of witchcraft? No, this is just politics. Politics and well, it is politics and religious belief that this was a land that was promised to them by God through Abraham, from their God. This is just a genocidal maniac God that they are believing is fulfilling. They are fulfilling what that God has said and promised them. You rented it at the library. I ain't been in the library so long since the internet. Ready for the world. No, Marcus, you're not an agent. It's just jokes, man. Just jokes. To be better, you have to do the research for what you don't know. If it's the truth or a lie, this is correct. The problem is we get comfortable and do not want to research. You're absolutely right. We have to research people. The truth is a lie, and the lie can be the truth. This is why we have to do the research. That is a correct statement if there ever was one, because if you don't do the research and look at all sides of it, you have to, you can't look at one side's perception of what's going on. You have to be able to stand back and get a full perspective of the whole thing so that you can understand all of it. And then from the all of something, you might be able to figure out what the more truthful path. And truth can be stranger than fiction. You are right about that one. Like, if we were, I would love for the Anunnaki just to come in and say, look, here's the deal, y'all. 25,000 years ago, this ice age was hitting, and we was chilling. We figured out how to live with it, but then that Younger Dryas period hard hit, which kind of, and then the flood after that kind of wiped out our civilization. But those who was able to survive, we came back and restarted civilization, and we fucked around with y'all genome to make it so that y'all can get back to how we were living for 200,000 years. And here y'all go. And some people took advantage of you, made y'all into a slave race, and this, and that started a war between us. And I would rather, come on, just tell me that. I can get down with that. It would blast everything that people believe is truth out the water. But I'd rather I can get down with that way more than I can get down with these fake ass Bible stories. People walking on water. Oh no, yeah, we walked on water because we got these little flotation shoes that allows us to be able to walk over water. Just that. Oh, the human body, we figured, what y'all think is death, we have medical procedures. You remember there was a Star Trek episode when they went back in time to go get the humpback whales, and this woman about to have surgery, and McCoy was like, "Oh my God, you about to have surgery for this? Yeah, take this pill." She took the pill, and bam, she was healed. Just better technology. Just give me that. Give me that. I'll even take. We are from Sirius B, the 4th, 5th planet, whatever planet it is. We figured out how to fold space and travel great distances in a short period of time. And we came here, we saw y'all, and we fucked around with y'all genome and made y'all into who you are and told y'all we was gods, But we're water-based creatures and we live under the water. That's why y'all see us fucking around. We got research centers under the water just watching y'all. See if y'all develop, waiting for y'all to develop till y'all can join this great galaxy of interstellar nations or something. I can deal with that. According to some people, that Civil War thing, and the Civil War is over us. The one side want to manipulate us and keeps us slave and dumb, i.e., Enlil or El in the garden, want to keep you dumb and don't eat from the tree of knowledge, versus Inky, who wants us to rise in our consciousness and our knowledge base. And according to some people, Inky's size faction has almost won the war, and soon all will be revealed. Come on with that. It makes more sense than any of these religions. Any of them, all of them, from Shango to El to the Sky People to Quetzalcoatl to Odin, all of them. This would make more sense to me because it's not based on some woo-woo magic shit. Some sky daddy peeking down and looking at everything you do. If they were completely honest, feeling vengeful would be honest. But would we be vengeful? I wouldn't be vengeful. Bring me if you say, look, this is what we did. We fought a war over it, but now that we've won, here's the med beds. So Ren's getting this med bed, and all that arthritis and back pain and all that shit is gone. Your body is like it's 30 years old again. You know what? I forgive y'all for all the bullshit that y'all did. Put me in the med bed. I'll take it. Oh, I can go up into space. I'll take it. How social advanced when Anunnaki in personal do bite the manhood off another. Huh? But that's the thing. The Anunnaki weren't that socially advanced. It was just as screwed up as we are today. If that's what you mean. because they weren't socially advanced. They had the same petty bullshit that we have. To take over, you know, is look at how. What is the difference? Well, let me rephrase. How was it that Europeans were able to take over the majority of the world? It was through technologically advancements. It wasn't through peaceful methods. Hell, it wasn't even, some of it wasn't even countries, it was companies that took over whole continents or half of continents, you know, or countries. Technologically advanced groups will always, seems to always take themselves as superior to those who are less advanced and look down on them. If the roles were reversed, the Africans, the Indians, and I mean real Indians from India, or the indigenous Americans would have done the same thing to the other group. Like, oh, we need your resources and we're going to take them because we got guns and your ass got spears. And we just going to take it. Bow down. If I could walk on water, I would never go on a cruise. Yeah, until your ass get into the Atlantic Ocean. I don't see you walk on that water. The Atlantic is a beast. You got them waves be high. So you'd be pissed. You'd be pissed for a minute until you get the benefits. If they're being beneficial to our current conditions of life, you wouldn't be pissed. They got a med bed. My cousin Angie, who currently has cancer, is, even though it's in remission, but for her to just be able to heal, done, she good to go, 100. I ain't mad no more. My mom get in there, high blood pressure and stuff gone, and you know everything. She good to go. I'm good. I'm good. That damn med bed is, let me tell you something. A med bed, like y'all seen the movie Elysium? There are people who claim that the Anunnaki got the med beds that you've seen in Elysium. If they just hide in the end of Elysium, all the med beds came down, the people that had access to all the med beds, they came down and started putting all the med beds out there, and everybody can just get healed from whatever they got going on in your body. It'll be forgiveness like a champ. That's how you know no Africans was in America the way. No, Paul. No. It's been proven that the ships that were being built in West Africa, the ships that were being built in Egypt, even the ships of the Phoenicians in North Africa, that those ships were just as capable of coming across the Atlantic. And plus, there's one thing you have to understand about the Atlantic. The entire Atlantic is not rough and tumble. Look up the Sargasso Sea. The Sargasso Sea encompasses a large portion of the Atlantic Ocean in that whole middle passage. And those waters are extremely calm. Like literally, the rough parts is the first part and the last part. But the middle is not rough unless there's a storm. When there's a storm, that's different. Storm won't fuck up anybody. But no, they were able to traverse it. No way, Coach, but we're still buddies. I'm telling you, man, I've been across it. I've been across the Atlantic twice, right? Well, actually, technically, I've been across the Atlantic 4 times, right? No, 3, because I flew back early on that one, so I didn't come across the Atlantic. So 3 times, you know, I've been across the Atlantic. And the Atlantic is rough when you start getting close to land. But in the middle, it's just calm. That's why there's a big floating ass garbage all in the middle of the Atlantic, and the Pacific has one too. But no, even recently, what was it? That dude Thor, he built the Ra 2, and the Ra 2 was an Egyptian style boat, and it made it across in 41 days. It made it across the Atlantic. if Columbus could get here, why couldn't anybody else get here? If Amerigo Vespucci was able to get here, why couldn't everybody else get here? Man, let me tell you, I have been out on the Atlantic, and I'm talking we 20, 30 miles off the coast of Africa. And there's jokers out there on canoes, hitting them waters like a champ. And then in the Pacific, you got the South Pacific Islanders, those big ass catamaran style boats that they was building back in the day, they made it across the Pacific. Have you ever seen an aircraft carrier on the water? Of course I have. I've been on one. Fuckers don't move. They don't rock at all. The only time I seen an aircraft carrier rock is we was off the coast of Israel and it was a hella storm going on. And that big motherfucker, it rocked a little bit. It was on a little rocket. That LPD I was on, that was rocking like a champ. But on the bottom of an LPD, we have smaller boats. And those smaller boats are about the size of what they were building back in the day. And we let them out in the Atlantic. They be going across there. A destroyer is little as hell. It's possible they crossed, but look at how many hundreds of ships lost by the Spanish. Oh yeah, there were plenty of ships that were lost. Plenty of ships that were lost. But once they were able to start navigating and knew which way to go, it became easier. Just like anything, it becomes easier and easier to get across because you start understanding when the current changes. Like the Atlantic River, once you get to a certain point, you have to make a decision to either go straight or go north or go south. And trust me, that Atlantic River, that's some bitches. That thing flow. I've been on it. I've been on it in a boat, and I've been on it in the water, and it moves like a river in the middle of the ocean. It's like what's it called, an undertow that snatches the shit out your soul and pulls you. You was on the USS Nassau. Yeah, them jokers they don't rock. No, I went on a submarine one time, and I would never, ever, 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 ever get on a submarine again. Yeah, there have been a few people, 1 man and 2 people crossings. Shit, we got sailboats that be going across now. And they ain't even that big. I would surf on those hard waves. Grand Rising, Michelle. How you doing? I find it hard to believe from a nurse's point of view that they travel all that time with hundreds of Africans chained together, defecting and vomiting on each other. Not to mention the sores from lying on the wood. Okay, so Michelle, undercurrent, thank you. That I hate that people think that all slave boats was this one boat that only made like 3 or 4 voyages that was set up where it could carry 200 to 300 people. That boat was not the normal boat. The normal carrying was somewhere in the range of 30 to 50 people, 60, 70 at most. But that boat that they used to show everybody just lying there, it only made like 3 or 4 voyages. And then even the Europeans declared that boat to be inhumane and it was decommissioned. But that was at the end of the transatlantic slave trade when that particular boat was designed and built. But that was not the normal carrying boat. They didn't cross it all sitting like that. They was in the below chambers. They was above deck, having to pretty much work while they was going across. So this idea of them sitting there and lying like this for 30 to 40 days is not accurate. So all you got to do is just research that boat, and you'll see that the way it's been put out as propaganda. See, that boat was used as propaganda in order to get more Northerners to fight against the Southerners, to show how inhumane they were. But that wasn't the norm at all, ever. We gave, we gone. Witchcraft. They weren't even slave boats; they were cargo ships. Yeah, they started out as cargo ships, and then the cargo became slaves, and so that's what I'm saying. They were slaves were just in the cargo holds. Yeah, when they was in there, especially at night, they were chained up together. But some were used to work the boat, but they were in cargo holds with the rest of the cargo. They weren't just transporting slaves, but they was also transporting other goods as well. And when you look at some of the manifests, David, you'll see that like if you had a cargo of 50 slaves, like 10 of them might die. So the overwhelming majority would survive. If they were losing profit on people dying at a higher percentage, then the whole endeavor would have been ended. They would have to figure out something else. When it comes to business, the the true equalizer is business. You ain't gonna keep doing something if you're losing money on it. That's putting bad money. You don't put good money after bad. I'm gonna have to get back to you on Columbus and the boats, but I've got to center my energies. Good vibrations, coach. Good vibrations to you too. Okay. Yeah, just go look it up. Yeah, we were the cargo. Slave, rum, cotton. There was a path to profit laid out. Yeah. And sugar. No, don't forget sugar now. This is why out of like 94% of the slaves brought over either stayed in the Caribbean or went to South America. This is why they still populate like North America, because that sugar was the cash crop. Right? That was the cash crop. So sugar wasn't an American thing. Cotton was American, but was North American. But that damn sugar cane, just like sugar is I think sugar is the most addictive thing on the planet now, right? I think sugar isn't the number one addictive thing on the planet. But that damn sugar, that was the money. So, and you got to understand, sugar production, there are more that died from, and this is what made the transatlantic so profitable, because there was more slaves died during the production of sugar than dying coming across the Atlantic. Because even to this day, you got to go out there and chop down the sugar cane. They don't have like like with the cotton gin, they ain't got nothing like that for sugar. The only thing they got now is something that grind. And we just saw this last night. We was watching this documentary on Barbados, which was a horrible ass documentary. But they showed how sugar production is still being done today in Barbados. They motherfuckers still out there with a machete cutting this shit down. It's labor intensive as hell, and people died in big time. So the average lifespan of somebody working on a sugar plantation, I think, was like 3 years. Yeah, the ships were never empty. Slaves, cargo, got to have both of them. And then they would take slaves from America to Europe. Yeah, like truck driving. Yeah, sugar is the shit. Wonder why they didn't try to grow sugar here. Too cold to grow. Yes, they did. They dried like that because they worked us to the damn bone. Yeah, they died like that. Yeah. Yeah, sugarcane won't grow in the Americas. You got to be tropical for sugarcane to grow well. You Florida wouldn't have worked, too swampy, you know. So sugarcane was just never a big product in America. I mean, you could grow sugarcane here, in the southeast, but it's not as good of a crop to grow as you can grow it in Brazil, the Caribbean. It grows much better there, you know. And you had when Europe got a taste of sugar. Oh, that motherfucker was at the sugar when they got a taste of sugar and they got cotton, more plentiful cotton, and tobacco. Europe lost their mind. Europe lost their ever loving mind. They had to have more. So that whole slave trade industry, the transatlantic industry, and the slave plantations over here, it was like the dot-com bubble. It was like the dot-com bubble. It just lasted for a few centuries. And Europeans, they first tried to take Europeans who were criminals or in debt and first tried to bring them to do the work. But the European was like, oh, hell no. Right? So they tried, let me go back. First, they tried to make the indigenous people do it, but they were dying, and not only dying from the labor, but dying from the diseases that they weren't accustomed to. The Africans had more immune systems. They were more immune to the European disease since they had contact with them for a longer period of time. So the Europeans, so first they tried the indigenous, then they tried to get the Europeans to do it. And the European was like, oh, hell no. And like the Irish and the Scottish and all of them, they were like, nah, bullshit. And then they realized, we can get these Africans. They don't die as quickly from diseases, and it's harder for them to hide amongst the natives, because even though the natives were people of color, they weren't the same tone, they didn't have the same look, so they were easier to identify if they ran away. So that was business. If you look at it from a pure business stance, take race out of the picture and just put on a business mindset, the transatlantic slave trades makes more sense than enslaving the indigenous population. Even when you look at a man from Zambia, I don't know if he's still on here, they would go to India and bring people from India to work as slaves in Zimbabwe and Zambia and South Africa. They would bring the Indians over, the real ones. Yeah. And after the slave trade, when that was ended, that ended in America in the Haiti Revolution was 1804. So I think it ended around 1806 is when the transatlantic was then outlawed. And that's where breeding became not inbreeding, but breeding became the bigger thing to do. Even though breeding was already going on, it became even more important at that point. But yeah, they stopped that at that time frame. And I think South America, the Spanish and the Dutch stopped soon after bringing people over. And so those ships were just repurposed. That's what killed them when people are like, well, where are the slave ships? Where are the slave ships? It's not like they said, oh, well, fuck, we ain't doing slaves no more. We ain't got no use for these ships. Before that, the ships were cargo ships. So still after that, they were still cargo ships. They just repurposed them, which is what we still do today. If we stop using something, we're going to repurpose it for something else if we possibly can. And a ship is easy to repurpose. You love your African friends like family. Europe sold Europeans to Africa. In North Africa, yeah. And then, but not only the Europeans sell them, the Barbary pirates used to capture American ships, British, but mainly some American ships, but mostly British ships, Spanish ships, and Portuguese ships, and Dutch. They used to capture them and then force them into slavery in North Africa. So everybody got a little bit, but it wasn't as prevalent. And the only reason it's not as prevalent is because of technology. The North Africans were more equal to the technology of the Europeans than the sub-Saharan Africans, and mainly because they have had centuries of connection with them. I don't look at North African history as African history. Uh, I look at North African history as Mediterranean history because they were connected with all that shit going on in the Mediterranean. I mean, you got to think about it. You had three or four Punic Romans who became emperors of Rome. I think it's like three of them. It might have been like the father and the son and the grandson. And they were Phoenician. Well, the Phoenicians, when they finally got tired of the Levant, they moved to what I think modern day Tunisia, and they became Punic. And then those Punic, you had one guy who was a general, became a general in the Roman army, married a Roman woman, and then him and then his children became emperors for a little while. He was dark skinned. Of course, his kids got a little bit lighter, but the Romans didn't think about it like that. He was a great general, and that's how you become emperor. That's one of the ways to become emperor in the Roman Empire, was to be a great general. But that's Mediterranean history. Sub-Saharan history is different. Hannibal, he was mixed because he was Punic as well, but he was mixed. He was a man of color, but he wasn't straight black sub-Saharan African, and he wasn't European. He wasn't like Arab. He was darker than the Arabs. African friends are more down to earth than most other countries, other cultures. And David, correct me if I'm wrong, but y'all have there's a huge population of Indians from India in South Africa, right? You should ask them about their heritage. See if you know any of them whose family has been there since like from the 1600s forward. If you find ones whose family has been there since like 1600s or 1800s, they could probably tell you that if they're not embarrassed, that their ancestors came over as slaves. Because an Indian dude can't just hide with the Ashanti or the Zulu. You're like, hold on. That little brown one right there with the little wavy hair, that joker, him different. He a little bit different. They go, where you from? Let me check your body, see if there's any markings on your body. I think you belong to somebody. Yeah, they was different. You gotta think, like, slavery starts out not as a racial thing, but as a business thing. In most cases, most cases it's a business thing. Or it's, hey, you lost in the war because we trying to take your resources, or somebody got pissed off. Guess what? You're a slave now because you lost. Yeah, with that straight hair. I do know and live on Gandhi's walking path in Johannesburg. Gandhi's time in Africa is my time frame of thinking about Gandhi as Pup Gandhi. Gandhi at that time frame was racist as hell. He ain't become the good version, the better version of himself at that point. At that point, he was the screwed up version of himself. So I take Gandhi in parts. I don't like you. You all right. Still don't trust you a little bit, but you all right. That joke. Hell no. But we have to be, like we talked about earlier, you got to look at the whole damn story and the whole perception, the whole thing, so you have the perspective of the whole and not just the part. too often people want to just jump into their little part of their narrative and have information that back that up and be like, oh, that's the whole thing. But it's not. It's not. There's different time frames that different thought processes were going on. That's why, like I said in the beginning, this hand of Hansama, when it was a Sumerian and Akkadian symbol, it was a Christian would have said this was demonic, right? But then in the Middle Ages, this was the hand of Mary, which Christians venerated and had over their babies and had over their houses, thinking that it would keep the Lulutu or Lilith from killing their kid, or it would bring about fertility. And then the church during the Inquisitions and all that was like, no, that's evil, and they went away, and then it got picked up by Islam. Well, it had already been picked up by Islam by then, but it was picked up by Islam to ward away the evil eye, the negative thoughts of people, and also to keep off the negative jinn. So this has been witchcraft, and then it wasn't witchcraft, and then it became witchcraft. But the whole goddamn time is magic. The whole time. Because it's the intent that people are putting behind it, giving it to a deity. And you can find that in almost anything. Think about it. These jokers will take wearing a cross, believing it symbolizes, the resurrection, the death and resurrection of Jesus. It's witchcraft. It will be considered witchcraft in their stuff, because that's the intent that they're putting on it from some higher deity. And witchcraft, as they call it, is neither good nor bad. It's all about your intent. It's all about the intent that you're utilizing it for. Northern Black and Southern Black had two different experiences. Yes, they did. So with that, I think I'm done for today because it's been 3 hours. It's been 3 hours. Grand Rising. Oh shit, I'm gonna fuck that up. Zasubaji. I think I said it right. Zasubaji. Yeah, you're coming in at the end. You have to watch a rebroadcast. Yep. If you like the channel, follow the channel Zasubaji, then you'll know we go on every day around 10:30, 10:45. Monday through Friday. I shouldn't say every day. That's finite, but Monday through Friday. It's distasteful that a dude nailed to a piece of wood. Yeah. Like they say, if Jesus was drowned in a toilet, then people would be walking around with a toilet with a toilet symbol on their neck and on their house. Can you imagine people having a toilet on the wall representing Jesus because he was drowned in a toilet? That's how stupid it is. Yeah. Grand Rising Beverly, people coming in at the end. Ooh, but lost a friend comparing witchcraft to religion. And that's the bullshit when people take it to the extreme where they're willing to take someone's life. In God we trust to the end. Oh, Paul Elvis. Nah, it's right. 9,000. Oh, yes. So everybody, thank you for sharing the video, sharing the page. Thank you for all the subscribers. YouTube, we've reached another milestone. We went over 9,000. Facebook, we reached even another milestone. We went over 40,000. So thank you guys. I appreciate your sharing and subscribing because that's what makes the channel work. And your commenting actually makes the channel work as well. So thank you guys very, very, very much. I always want to show my gratitude for that because it is truly appreciative that, we can have the conversations and, the bullshit. Deal with the bullshit. Oh, no death. We're just not friends. Oh, got you. I see what you're saying. My bad. But there are people who go to that length, Beverly. But I'm glad that that's not the situation with your person. But hey, keep standing strong on your stance of wherever you are, whoever, whatever your stance is. Don't let anybody change it unless you decide that you want to change it. No one should change who you are, or how you are, or what you believe, or what you follow, unless you decide that that's what you want for yourself. Everything else that anybody else is saying that goes against it, well, that's their bullshit, and let them live on their bullshit, just like you live on your bullshit. Because we all live on our bullshit, trying to figure out as much truth as we possibly can, and as always, trying to have the best life we can possibly live, and raise our consciousness so that we don't, in my opinion, have to come back and relive on this gross matter plane again. So until tomorrow, where we are in Numbers, I think 13 and 14, because Tuesday we do What's Wrong with the Bible, as we are going through it word for word, chapter for chapter, book for book. I don't know how far we're going to go in it, but we'll keep going. And your Wednesday, have no idea what we're going to talk about, but Thursday, the esoteric review of the movie Stigmata. So watch the movie Stigmata if you haven't seen it. I'm going to have to watch it again because I haven't seen it in a decade. But I remember it had the Gospel of Thomas in it, so that's why I wound up watching that movie about 4 or 5 times back in the day. So we'll be talking about that, and because we've already done a thing. Remember we read the entire Gospel of Thomas and we broke that down. You can find that on YouTube in my playlist where we did the Gospel of Thomas. And if you want to catch up with all the other books of the Bible that we've done for What's Wrong with the Bible, you can find those playlists as well. So y'all have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow around 10:30, 10:45, somewhere around in there. And because I don't have any errands tomorrow morning, so yeah, we should be good. So y'all have a great day. Remember, always you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration, and like Elvis, thank you very much. I hate Elvis. Can't stand him.